to be able to edit this down. All right. So real quick, I'm going to go back here. Let's see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull this tab out and put it on another screen so I can see what you guys are saying. How's that? So let's go to chat. Yeah, I can't see the chat now. That's so cool. Just a second. I'll be right back. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So let's just take a look at the chat. Everybody is seeing my screen. Can you make it show in full screen, please? Yeah, Craig, see, that's the issue. All right. Here's what I'll do. I have this really nice looking. Stop presenting. Stop sharing. Okay. I have this really nice looking Keynote that I don't think we're going to be able to use today. So that being what it is, let me try sharing screen this way. And let's go to Window. All right. What we're going to do is I'm going to share this. And this is the Keynote, and then after a while we'll get into Groove itself. So here are the topics for today, and I'm sorry everybody, it's 9 after 11. I do have a clock I'm watching here, and I'm going to do my very best to get you guys great information in the next 50 minutes. So topics today: Groove pages versus Groove funnels. Some of these are going to be really short. That's a really short one. Funnels and websites. What is a site? And I put it in quotes because inside of Groove there's a specific construct, Groove pages, called sites. I'm going to talk about domains and subdomains, assets and pages inside of the Groove pages builder, global headers and footers, and I'm going to give you a spacing overview before we finish today. And that's going to be, it's possible that's going to be the highlight of what you're going to get as far as technical, in-depth, how to save you frustrations when you're doing mobile responsiveness. So that's the final piece for today. So let's just start by talking about Groove pages versus Groove funnels. So inside of Groove, when you go into the dashboard, you'll see at the top, you can see dashboard, and then you can see Groove pages and Groove funnels. Give me a second. And what I don't have the ability to do is keep track of the chat. All right. So guys, I'm just going to present for a while and then I'll come back to the Q&A. How's that sound? All right. So Groove pages versus Groove funnels. So you see two apps there. Groove pages, it's intuitive and easy to use page plus funnel builder. And then you see Groove funnels, imagine, build, sell, profit. Here's the little secret. Those two are exactly the same thing. There are not two different apps inside of Groove. There is Groove pages. That is the app where you build websites, you build funnels, you build pages. And pages are simply a piece of your site or your funnel or both. So question number one, what is the difference between Groove pages and Groove funnels? There is no difference. So anywhere inside of Groove, if you see Groove funnels, it's going to take you to Groove pages. Groove pages is the builder. It is the app. And I think this is all because when Groove started, they were called Groove funnels, and therefore it kept people from thinking that it could do lots of other things. And so then they changed it to groove.cm. And they kept the Groove funnels. Honestly, I'm not sure why that's in there at this point. But it is there, and I don't want you to be confused by it. That's number one. That was simple. That was quick. And I'll come back. You can put questions in the question box, and I'll see if I can answer some of those later as we go along. All right, the second thing I want to address when we're talking about Groove pages is the difference between funnels and websites. And again, we're starting way up here at 50,000 feet. We're going to slowly work our way down to a little bit more detail. But I want to start up here because understanding this is going to help you understand how to use Groove pages most effectively. So let's talk real briefly. And again, what I'm sharing with you today, I'm positive somebody can come up with a better description and a better definition, but I'm going to do my best to make it clear. So funnels when we think of an online funnel, so if we stepped back really to 70,000, 80,000 feet, a funnel is actually it's not a site-based construct. A funnel is simply the way you get people into your sphere of influence and move them towards purchasing. That's what a funnel is. But when we think about funnels online, we think about this kind of a thing where you have step one, an opt-in page. So let's say you're giving away a free guide for how to use Groove pages. And so you have a page that you've built. People come to that page. People put their name and their email in, and then you go to step two. Step two might be, thank you for downloading my free guide. By the way, you can purchase a course called How to Use Groove Pages. And so step two would be another page that's built to help somebody purchase a product. So we started them at the top, we gave them a freebie, we're asking them to purchase, and then we might have a step three that's another upsell as well. That's typically what you think about. Like if you're using ClickFunnels or Go High Level or System.io, all of these systems, many of them actually put them in what they call step format. And that's what a funnel tends to be. It tends to be 1, 2, 3 steps. As opposed to a website, which is not linear. It's not step 1, step 2, step 3. It's more of a general area where you can go and you can see all kinds of things. So you come to your home page on your website and it will talk about your business, talk about you, but they have a menu at the top, a nav bar, right? And the nav bar is going to say About Us, and they click on it, they go to the About Us page. Services, they click on it, they go to the Services page. Contact, they click on it. So it's a collection of pages, but instead of being step 1, step 2, step 3, it's whatever step you want to be on. It's more of a self-guided tour, if you will. And so that's a really broad difference between funnels and websites. And I want to look just a little bit deeper at some of the practicalities of that in regard to Groove pages. So you can also, before we get to that, sorry, I forgot this slide, you can have a website with funnels. So if you look at this example, you would have a home page. You'd have About Us, they could click on it. You'd have Services, they could click on it and go to the page. But you could also have download my free guide, and this could be a pop-up, this could be a menu item. And you can see on the right side there that it's the same funnel. So within the website, you can have funnels. And this is the way I really recommend a lot of people build. If you're a coach, if you're an online content creator, you're going to want to, I think, the best way to do it is to put your funnels within your website. And we're going to look at sort of the next level of what does that look like in Groove pages. So let's talk about, so we've got these three options: funnels, we got websites, and we've got a website with funnels. I'm just going to take a quick break because I want to just make sure everybody's catching this okay. Chat. Let's see. Anybody? How's it going, guys? Just real quick. I made it full screen. Funnel equals a structured sequence of events or processes leading the viewer to an expected outcome versus a website being a book with chapters. Bill, that's spot on. That's better. See, there you go. Thank you, Bill, for attending and giving us a better, simple one-sentence description. That's great. Okay, everybody's doing okay. Everybody's being able to see what we're doing. Perfect. All right, let's go. Let's see. All good? All right, let's go back to presenting. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't sitting here babbling on and nobody was being able to see it. Let's go back to share. Let's go back to, let's see, we were sharing a window. We were sharing the Keynote. All right, let's go back. All right, so we've got the website with the funnels. Let's talk about inside of Groove pages. So when you go into Groove pages, you will be able to create sites. And I want to talk a little bit about what a site is and what it isn't, because one of the mistakes that I see people making is that people will build a funnel in a site, and they will build another funnel in another site and another funnel in another site. And while that is something that you kind of have to do in other systems, so At some level, you need to do that in System I/O. You have to do a different funnel for each, a different site. They don't call them sites in those other apps. So what we have in Groove Pages is we have these things, these constructs called sites. And so here's how I define a site. A site in Groove Pages, a site is a collection of pages that will all be posted on one single domain. And that's kind of the key principle there. Every page inside this site, so you can build hundreds of pages, and I've not counted mine up lately, but my site might have 100 pages in it because my site includes my website, my main website, plus lots of funnels. And so if you just take this as an example, so let's say we were building just a funnel. We didn't have a website, we were just building a funnel. So your domain could be mygreatfunnel.com. And what you would see inside is you would see 3 pages. We saw this earlier, the 3 steps: opt-in page, thank you upsell, or it could be thank you final. And inside you would see the same domain name, mygreatfunnel.com, and then you're going to have a slash with this, what's called a slug or a URL on the back end of the slash. So where it says index, where it says thank-u-upsell, where it says thank-u-final, that's actually the address you can find that specific page on that specific domain. But all of these 3 pages are attached to that one domain. By the way, I've also seen people make the mistake of building their landing page in a site and then build a thank you page in another site and then build an upsell page in another site. But that will ultimately not work because every page is going to have a different domain if you do it that way. So we want all of our pages for one site to have all of the pages for whatever we're building. So this is an example of a funnel. Let's go take another look at what the website would look like in this example. So again, you have a collection of pages that will all be posted on one single domain. So mygreatbusiness.com, and the home page is going to be mygreatbusiness.com/index. Now we'll talk about this a little bit later, but we don't really have control over whether that says index or not. The home page, the first page, it's the default page if somebody goes to your domain. So, but it is one of the pages in the site. Inside the site, we're also going to build a page called About Us. We'll build a page called Services. We'll build a page called Contact. And you can see the domain stays the same, mygreatbusiness.com/index/about/service/contact. In this site, we would have built 4 pages, and they will all be published on the one domain, mygreatbusiness.com. Let's look at the combination website and funnel. So now we have 6 pages. All of the pages were built in one single site. And I'll try to show this when we get into Groove Pages specifically. But we have, again, mygreatbusiness.com/index/about/service. But over on the right side, our 3 funnel pages are /freebie, /ty-upsell or thank you upsell, and /thank-u. All of those pages are inside of one site. We don't build the funnel in a different site. We build it all in the same site. And I'm going to show you in a little bit how to organize your pages and your funnels inside of your site so it doesn't become unwieldy and it doesn't become just a list of 50 pages that you got to scroll down through to find the one you want to work with. But that is what a site is inside of Groove. All right, now I'll take just a quick, I see I'm doing great on time as far as I can tell. So let's just, in regard to sites, in regard to pages, oh gosh, I got people waiting to get in. My bad. For those of you just joining us, sorry I wasn't watching the button to admit people. All right, so I'm just going to do a real quick, I'm going to look at these questions here. If I have built some pages in a site and my funnel in a different site, can I move my pages to another site in Groove? Absolutely, that's a great question. And you have a couple of features. So when you're in a site and you're on a page, you can click the three dots on any page over on the left-hand side. And if you remind me, I'll try to remember to show this to you. And you have a couple of options. One of them is to move the page. And when you click move, it'll guide you through a process of choosing what site you want to put those pages into. And you can choose your other site where you built your website, move your funnel page there, and then once you get inside that other site, you're going to want to change that slug, that part that was at the end, /freebie /thank you. You're going to want to check that and change it and make sure it's the URL that you want on that domain. My funnel pages to my main site, I mean. Yes, Angela, hopefully that answered that question. All right, here's another one. Can I build different sites for different domains and Groove pages? Absolutely, Alex. You can build as many sites for as many domains or subdomains as you want to. And we're going to talk about subdomains in just a moment. All right, going great. Simon, good now. Okay, great. Any other questions? Is it the same if you want to separate offers out? Yeah. Madeline, sorry. Here's what I would say to your question. Is it the same if you want to separate offers out? I tell you what I'll do. Just take a real quick jaunt over into my site. And let's go here and share this. All right, so this is inside of my Groove account. And we can go to Your Best Groove, manage the site. And what I want to show you is my construct over here in pages. So first of all, I used to have all of my pages in here, and that was terrible because you can't search, you got to scroll down until you find the one you want. But what you see is I have on my main page Home, Workshop, Academy, Services, and Portfolio. Academy is an offer. And so if we go to that page, you can see that this is a web page that sells the Groove for Growth Academy. But what you can't see by looking over here, and again, I'm going to discuss all of these things in a little bit later in the class today. Over in funnels, I have workshop offers. I have a freebie that's a 20-step cheat sheet. I have a free Amazon SMTP guide. And you can see that each of these, this one has 6 pages. This one has 7 pages. Free basics of groove.ai course, and so forth. All of these are different offers that I'm making. But what's important, I think, is in my case, all of those are related to, sorry, I just lost my, there we go. All of those are related to my main domain. If you have different offers for different products, as an example, you might want to build those on different sites with different domains. But generally, when you have different offers, different courses, different memberships, different things within your main product area or within your main business, you want to put those all into one particular site. All right, so that's sites. What is a site? And I'm going to go ahead and share screen and keep moving. Those are great questions. And again, this is one of the things that happens for a lot of people is not understanding. You put all of your pages in one site if you want a consistent domain/name, domain/URL, and it's much cleaner for you in the long run. All right, I'm going to go share screen again. I'm going to go to Window and share the web class. All right, let's talk about domains versus subdomains, because this is one of the things that I see people getting confused by. And I know some of you on the call, you're technical and this is not something you need to learn, but I also know that there are many, many, many people in the Groove stratosphere that don't quite understand a domain versus a subdomain. So this is going to be a really quick, again, high-level overview of the difference between the two. So when you have a website, you would be able to send people to www.mygreatbusiness.com/index. And what many people don't realize is that little www at the left-hand side there, and just like the freebie 1 on the left side of the domain, what comes before the domain, that is what's considered a subdomain. That's what makes it a subdomain, which I think is counterintuitive because sub would seem to come under or after, but in the web, the web www gods, the HTTP gods, whoever they are, decided that subdomains were going to come out there on the left side, subdomain.maindomain.com. What is interesting about this, and this is a really quick subject, is that a subdomain in terms of SEO or the domain being known is literally, I don't know that this is true completely, but considered a different domain. It's almost like having different domains. So if you're going to use a subdomain, you could do something like freebie1 or migrate.freebie.migratebusiness.com. What you would essentially be doing would be losing any domain authority that you had at migratebusiness.com by doing that. It might make it easy for people to remember, easy for people to find, but generally, in my opinion, and I humbly submit this, for most of us who are out there selling programs, selling courses, selling products, outside of GrooveCard, of course, this is all about Groove Pages, we don't need to or want to use a subdomain for an additional offer inside of our business. What we want instead is, if you see out here on the right side, www.migratebusiness.com/index. That piece right there, the /index, is what's considered a folder in the site. It's a place where that page information is stored. It's also called in Groove Pages, I've seen it described two different ways, the URL or the slug, and you have the ability to change what that is. But a subdomain is something that comes before the main domain, and a folder is something that comes after. In my humble opinion, a good use for a subdomain would be something that we do for the Groove for Growth Academy. When people go to sign into my Groove member area, they go to members.yourbestgroove.com. So I have the membership branded with my domain, but it's on its own subdomain, members.yourbestgroove.com, and that's where people go to find the membership area. And that's one good use for a subdomain in a general business like you and I are building in Groove. So that's domains versus subdomains. I want to cover one other area, and that is a Groove subdomain. So everybody who owns Groove can use a Groove subdomain without buying your own personal domain. So you don't have to go buy mygreatbusiness.com. Groove will give you a subdomain, and here's sort of what it looks like and how it's constructed. So I'm not exactly sure what my subdomain is right now, but it could be something like Kevin Strite dot, and then it's going to be groovepages.com. So when you use the Groove Pages, the Groove subdomains, you lose the ability to personally brand, and people who come to your website are going to see Groove Pages. But what Groove gives you is the ability to have your own personalized subdomain. Again, it becomes before the domain. So kevinstrite.groovepages.com. And then the second thing that Groove gives us the ability to do, excuse me, is within that subdomain, within that Groove page, kevinstrite.groovepages.com, we can have multiple sites. And the way they do that is by having a folder for each site. So let's say I have a site for my Your Best Groove business. So it would be kevinstrite.groovepages.com/yourbestgroove, and then and then all the page URLs. And I know this can get a little bit confusing, but I'm just trying to describe the structure for how Groove offers us free domains that we can use. One of the things that I use this for is testing sites before I go public with them. And so I'll publish on the Groove subdomain just to see what it looks like. But you could have different sites, and they're going to show up this way. They're going to have the site name and then the page URLs after it. And that is sort of a real quick summary of domains and subdomains, and I know there's a lot of area we could cover with how do you buy a domain, how do you connect your domain, what's the appropriate way to connect your domain, use Cloudflare, don't use Cloudflare. I'm not going to hit any of that today because we would spend the rest of the next half hour just talking about that. But that is domains and subdomains, and I'm ready to look inside, but I'm going to stop sharing again and just quick check if there are specific questions. Yeah, okay, this is great. Okay, so you guys are adding. So why would you use a subdomain? Okay, so Joseph says you use subdomains to organize and categorize your online content. Bill Marks, okay. So you could have Atlanta.yourbestplumber, New York.yourbestplumber. And I'll give you an example of this. We have a customer that is a not a real estate, is a travel agent. I'm not sure that that's what they call themselves, for Disney. But they have agents who work with them. And so what we've done is we've created a template that every new agent gets their own subdomain on the main domain. So I can't remember the name of their main domain, but let's say it's disneyisgreat.com. So when I sign up to be an agent with them, I get a web page called kevin.disneyisgreat.com. That would be an example, just like what Bill is talking about. Subdomain can provide authority to each other. Bill, I'm sure you know more than I on that. I was not under the impression that subdomains give authority to main domains, but that could be true. What if I have to work with a separate app? My site, who will need to redirect for a certain product to me? Premiersite.club. I don't quite understand the question, Cornelia. So, yeah, okay. So Joseph confirms that subdomains don't give authority to main domains. I suppose if they backlink to each other, they could. But otherwise, I think they don't give authority to the main domain. Again, I'm going to not spend any more time on that because I don't want to get bogged down in subdomains. Interlinking, yeah, exactly. Okay, guys, I want to keep moving because I want to get to some really good stuff, and we're getting ready to go look inside of Groove Pages, where I'm going to sort of demo and talk more about this in detail. So let's keep moving here. I'm going to go back and share my screen, and let's see, we're going to share. Let's look inside, and we're going to look at assets and pages. So let me reshare. Sorry I have to do this. This is the system I'm using is Sessions, and it doesn't let me sort of switch between shares very nicely. Actually, my problem is my monitor is extra wide. All right, so let's go to Groove Funnels, and I'm going to share. And you're now sharing your screen. All right. And you know what? I'm gonna change up here. I'm gonna go back to the Keynote because I realized I had a bunch of stuff in the Keynote that I'm looking inside without going to the app yet. So inside of Groove Pages, when you're inside a site, that's what I wanted to show you. On the top left, you're gonna see this area that when you hover over the left icon, it says Pages. When you click on it, it says Assets. That's why I put it as Assets/Pages. But once you click on that upper left button, you'll see Website, Funnels, Webinars, Pop-ups, and Global Blocks. So what we're going to do is just take a look at each of those and talk about what they are and how you use them. So a website has two locations for pages. It has primary navigation and hidden pages. And when you put your pages in the website area of assets, in the primary navigation, those pages are what auto-populate any nav bars or menus that you have. So let's just go take a quick look at that. And we're going to share. Again, I apologize for this slow switching. Nope. Let's go back here. Oh, I wasn't sharing my screen. Let's try it again. Okay, we'll do share screen, and we're going to go to window, groove funnels. Okay, so we're going to go look inside of ignore. So is it still not sharing my screen? Tell me right now what you're seeing. Calls sharing a window. Right. We're not sharing the right screen. Yeah. Oh, you could see it? Oh, my bad. Okay. Sorry, guys. We'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it. Okay, I'm going to share. We saw your funnels page. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's what I want to show. All right. So, okay, now we're seeing this. I got it. All right. So on the funnels page, so what I was mentioning was on the website, we have primary navigation here at the top, and we have hidden pages at the bottom. So essentially, if we were to go to the home page, and I'm going to just quick go to my global block here and see if I actually have a nav bar. I do. And so you can see that on this page, down here on the bottom, it's not going to be easily seen, but at the bottom you can see that I have a nav bar on this page. And this information, home, workshop, academy, services with a drop down, portfolio, G4G members area, is all coming from this area, the primary navigation. So if, for example, I wanted to rename workshop to something different, I would go over here and rename the page. You can see that the page names correspond with what we're seeing on the nav menu. So that's the, if you will, the purpose for primary navigation is to enable you to have automated nav bars so that any page you add in this area, the primary navigation, will automatically show up in a menu. Now let's get out. I don't know why I use my main site for this kind of an example. It's probably a terrible idea. But let's go back in. Okay, sorry, my pages won't pop up. See what I said about it being a terrible idea? Let's go back in, manage site. Okay, and we're back. Now, you can also have a lot of other pages on your website that you don't want to show up on the menu. And they would be like thank you pages. Here's a thank you for somebody who purchased a product from us. It's got a calendar on it and a simple thank you. But you don't want that showing up in your menu up here. And so that's the purpose of the hidden pages. They're not hidden from the internet. They're just hidden from your menu. You can see I have the privacy policy and terms and lots of other. Most of these are thank you pages. There's a JV page. So two areas that you can have your pages when you're in the website area. All right. Let's go back here and share again. All right, that's the website area. So I talked about the primary navigation pages, auto-populate your nav bars and your menus. Let's go. Sorry, guys. Stop sharing. When you go to a free web class and the guy doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, here we go. All right, let me ask you this. Can you guys see? Yeah, I think you can see it now. Okay, so we just talked about this. Let's go on. Okay, so the second area in your assets area, your pages area, is funnels. And so you can think of both funnels and webinars, the next two layers there, as really kind of storage or organizational folders. It's just a way to have lots of pages in your site, but to be able to find them quickly and organize them. So within funnels, you might have, remember on the example where we had the web page, and then we had the home page and about and contact, and then freebie. From freebie on down could be in its own funnels space so that you can quickly go find that funnel within your website. But this is how you get to put up hundreds if you wanted to, but 50 pages, 25 pages, and be able to find them. And there are some additional functions within funnels and webinars. But for most of us, the main purpose we're going to use them for is to allow you to organize your pages in your site that are particular to a given funnel or webinar. Let's just keep going, and I'll come back to look at these specifically. Pop-ups, that area is exactly what it says. That's going to contain any pop-up you've created to be a part of this site. So any pop-up available to any of the specific pages in your site, all of them are found here. And when we get to that, I'm going to show you a couple of critical settings when you create pop-ups. And then the final thing is global blocks. And that area will contain global blocks you've created for the site. So it's possible in Groove Pages to create a global header that you put on every page, and then you change it one time and it changes on every page. A global footer. You could have a social media block that you're sticking on every page, and so you just create it as a global block, and it can be changed one time and changed on every page. All right, so this is a better way to do it. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go share inside of Groove Pages now and talk about each of these areas a little bit. All right, great. Okay, so we talked about primary navigation. We talked about the hidden pages. Let's look into funnels for just a second. So I told you that I have a funnel called Free 20-Step Cheat Sheet. So the way funnels work is, again, you can kind of think of this as a folder or an organizational area where you keep some of your pages. And I need to be careful for those of you that are web developers. It's not necessarily a folder like you think of in web design. It's inside of Groove Pages. This is a storage area. So let's click on it. And you can see that I have, this is an opt-in page. Put your name and email in here, get your cheat sheet. Some of you may have gotten this cheat sheet in the past. If you're in the Academy, don't go sign up for this because you already have it. But you can, by the way, go to yourbestgroove.com/free guide, and you can go actually use this funnel. Give me just a moment. Okay, so we have the main page, the landing page for the funnel is inside of here. We have the second page. This is when people purchase, when people download the freebie, I have this little page. It says, hey, congratulations, you're on your way to success. You can see a hidden video there. But hey, by the way, you might want to take the entire course for Groove Pages. It's only $47 today. And of course, this is a sales page, a thank you page, and a sales page with a 4-hour timer on it for somebody who has downloaded the freebie. And again, that's found over here in, this is where I think it gets confusing. So you go over here to Pages, you pop it open and it says Assets. You go to Funnels, and we're back inside this funnel now where we can look at each of the pages. And I won't go through them page by page, but hopefully that gives you a picture of, if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages, 6 more pages over here in my hidden area, and you can't organize these. Now you can slide them around a little bit. So I guess that's sort of organizing them. But it's hard. You basically got to read each one to find the URL that you want. That's why I put my funnels in a funnels folder. Okay, so each funnel has its own storage area, and you can see I actually made a funnel over here called Extra Pages, and it's just miscellaneous pages that I've created over time that I don't want to get rid of, but I keep them in this little funnel, quote, funnel called extra pages. And that's the funnels area. Webinars are similar. A webinar would be sort of a storage area where you can create a page for your webinar. So everything you need to build your beautiful funnel. This is actually a webinar page that you can go to and sign up and watch the free funnel build workshop I used to do. And it has its own page and landing page. And the extra functionality for webinar is if you build your webinar pages inside a webinar, you then have access to them in Groove Webinar. So if you want to use Groove Pages designed pages, you can run a Groove Webinar with just Groove Webinar pages. But if you want it to be your own style, your own build, you can't do all of this over in Groove Webinar. So you can build the landing page here, and you put it inside of a webinar folder so that it's available when you get over to Groove Webinar. So that's the extra functionality. You also extra functionality in funnels. If you go to funnel settings, you can choose a funnel slug, which would kind of go back to yourbestgroove.com/funnel1/ and then start your funnel pages. I haven't personally found a good use for that, but I'm sure there's a good reason for having that. That's website, funnels, webinars, pop-ups. I just want to show you real quickly when you go to pop-ups, it's not like pages. Like if you're on pages and you click on one, it will open it up, and you will then be able to edit that page. When you're on pop-ups, you actually have to click the 3 dots and then edit in order to actually edit the pop-up. So this is a little pop-up that we have if people want us to do work for them. They go to this pop-up to tell us about your project. The settings you want to be aware of on a pop-up. So if we click the 3 dots again, click Edit Settings, we can set up the width of the pop-up. We can set up the close button. We can say this is an entry pop-up or an exit pop-up. But most important is this Select Pages. So in order to enable the pop-up to work, you have to go into the settings. You have to go down here into this area and choose which pages this function is going to work on. So you want to make sure you remember this. Otherwise, you'll create a pop-up, it'll let you connect it to the button, but it won't work. This is one of the areas that people get tripped up, is they're not aware of this particular area. All right. I'm going to talk about global blocks for a second, but I have a question. I want to come over here and take any questions. Can you build a new Groove page from scratch? Oh gosh, Craig, that is an hour-long workshop itself. So I'll put that on the list of maybe something that I do. It's a great question. Can you build a new Groove page? I can't do it today. Why were the thank you pages on the website instead of funnels? Because I just haven't taken the time to organize them, Scott. You're seeing what you're seeing when you see my live site. You're seeing something that has been built since 2020 and just built upon and built upon. And so when I started building it, we didn't have funnels. We didn't have the ability to put things into folders. And literally I had a list of 30, 40, 50 pages that I had to scroll down through to find them. And I've done some organizing, but I've not done enough to move all of the thank you pages into funnels. So that's a great question. How did the funnel get onto your website? Okay, John, if we go back to what I was sharing at the beginning, a site is a collection of pages on a domain. So that's why we build the funnel inside the site, because all of those pages, whether they're in the website area, whether they're in the funnels area, whether they're in the webinar area, all of those pages that we built inside of that site are going to be published onto one domain. And so that's how they get into the site. That's how they are a part of the domain, is by building them inside the same site. Can you have a pre-recorded webinar as a lead magnet that people can only have access to for a limited time? No, pretty much the Groove webinar, that's a question outside of today's workshop, but pretty much in Groove webinar, you set it up, it's there, and people can go and watch it when they want to. If you have an offer that has a domain separate from your main domain, is there an advantage to redirect that offer domain to your main site? See, I don't know why you would do that, Jerry. I don't know why you would do that. If your offer is a part of your main business, you should just put those pages inside that site and have them published on the site. I may not understand your question, but I would say that's the answer. There's no advantage to building out a offer on a separate domain and then redirecting it to your main domain, because you basically are creating a step that's unnecessary. How did you create this meeting room? Okay, it's on sessions, ma chérie. Can you move a funnel page to pages folder and back? Yes. So Michael, I mentioned this earlier in the call. You can use the move function, and one of the things that the move function will allow you to do, that's how I got a lot of my pages into those funnels, is you use move, and it will direct you through a process which will let you take the page and move it to a funnels area or move it to a webinar area and back and forth. So yes, you can move them back and forth. How do you use global blocks to create menu? I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. If the funnels are in the hidden pages, how does the visitor get to that? Yeah, okay, so that's really important. Don't confuse hidden. Hidden is just on the website area. When it says hidden pages, it just means it's not on the nav bar. It doesn't mean it's hidden from the web. And so when we put things into the funnels area, it doesn't mean it's not on the website. It just means it's organized. The pages are organized. Every page in that site, whether it's in the funnels area, whether it's in the hidden pages area, whether it's in the webinar area, every single page on that site is going to be published and going to be live out there. And you can send people then to yourbestgroove.com/free guide. And then that's the page, but inside of the builder. Don't confuse inside of the builder with the actual live site. Hopefully that's helpful. Jerry, you're welcome. Through adding a link on a visible page that leads them to a hidden page, it's available, not visible on the navigation bar. Yeah. Okay, Cornelia. Oh, sorry, Cornelia. You were answering Wilma's question. Perfect. Great questions, guys. Thank you so much for participating. This is extremely helpful for me in knowing what's beneficial and what's necessary for people. And I can see that I am up against 5 minutes. I want to make sure I get a couple of things in here. If some of you have to leave, maybe some of you booked an hour. And I'll stay on longer than an hour, but I want to go continue sharing with a few more things. So let's go to Window, Groove Funnels, Share, and we're back here. All right, so I mentioned global blocks, and that was one of the questions. So when we go to pages, again, it's confusing. How do you find global blocks? They're under, for whatever reason, the pages area, which is actually assets, a list of things inside of your site. And when you go to global blocks, you have the ability, and global blocks are similar to pop-ups in that you need to click the 3 dots and edit in order to actually edit them. So here's the example of my global block header. You can see that it's simply got a logo and it's got a nav bar that I've formatted and styled and made it exactly the way I want it. This is my global block that now can be used on any page. And so I'm going to exit from this global block and go to the page. And you'll see that on my home page at the top, this block cannot be edited. I can't change anything on it. What I can do is I can click Edit Global Block. It takes me back into where I was, and now I could change this. And when I change it, let's go back. This is important. It will change on every page that has the global block. So it's really important to understand that just creating a global block doesn't put it on every page. Because ultimately, I don't want this block on every page. Let me show you an example. When you have a funnel and you have a landing page, you don't want a menu at the top. Because critical point for funnels, you want them to have one call to action. You don't want them to go to your funnel like yourbestgroove.com/free guide. They came there to get your free Amazon guide. And then they have a menu at the top that says homepage, about us, contact, and they leave your funnel offer, they leave your offer page. That is completely destroying the purpose for the offer page. So this page right here inside of my site does not have the global block on it. If I wanted to add the global block, I would go to the top and click the plus. I would go to global blocks. I would find my header. This is the global block right here, and add it to the page. Now, if I change the header, it's going to get changed on this page. I do not want that global block on there. So I am going to click on it and delete it. And I'm not deleting the global block, I'm removing it from this page. So what you want to do when you do global blocks, by the way, when you use a Groove template, you will not have global blocks. You have to create these yourself in order to use them on your site. But you have several steps to go through. First of all, you create the global block, and you can do that in multiple ways. If you already have a website, and I think Angie might be on the call, we just did that on our live Q&A, I think this past week. Let's say you've built a page, and by the way, global blocks didn't exist, so what we had to do in the past was have the block created and then copy it, save it, paste it onto every page, but then you had to change it every time. So let's say you have a page and you've already created your nav bar. You like the way it looks. One of the ways to create a global block is to copy. You can't do it on a global block. Copy the block on a clipboard. By the way, I have a video on YouTube for this, and I won't be able to find the link immediately. But if you go to my YouTube channel, Groove Tutorials, and you search for global, or if you go to grooveanswersfast.com, if you go to grooveanswersfast.com and put in global, you'll be able to get that video, and it'll show you everything that I'm talking about, because I don't want to do it right now. It'll take up too much time. But what you do is you create your global block. You go through that process. Once you have your global block created, you go back to every page on your site. And by the way, this page is a bad example because I didn't want the global block on it. Let's go to services. And you go to the top and you add with the plus sign the global block. Once you have the global block on every page, you're going to be able to edit the global block and it will change it everywhere. All right, let's see a couple of questions. I just figured out how to answer questions without stopping my share. Your business address in the footer on all pages could be updated when you move offices. Exactly, Bill. That's the beauty of global blocks is several things. You get the formatting the same on every page. But yeah, if you want to update your copyright, the date to 2024, you change it one time in the global block, republish your site, and every page that has the footer gets that change. Your terms and conditions, that would be a page change, but absolutely. Yeah, Craig, here's the thing. I wanted to keep today out of the complex. I don't think you need to be a software engineer to use Groove pages, but I understand. I get it. It's one of the reasons. If you're not in the Groove for Growth Academy, I highly recommend you get in. And I'm going to make an offer, by the way, for people who aren't in the Academy today that I don't think you want to miss. Let's see. Guys, thanks for Bill. Thank you for interacting. How did you hide a page you're working on? How do you hide a page? Do you mean how do you keep it from being published, John? If that's what you mean, I'll show you real quickly. And then I want to get into spacing, because I want to give you these principles on spacing, because it's if I would say there's one thing that is the most frustrating thing for people who use Groove pages, it's mobile optimization. And I'm going to show you some keys and some principles as to how you can keep from having so much frustration with mobile optimization. John, okay, so John, the question is, when you have a page that you're working on, how do you keep it from being published? So one of the answers is, I'm sorry guys, my Ring camera keeps ringing. Let's go into here's a dummy site. So first of all, If you're working on a page and you don't publish the whole site and you don't go to publish and publish the current page, it won't be there. So first of all, when you're building it, by default, it's not there until you publish. You actually have to go through the process of publishing, which is different than from some other builders where once you save the site, it ends up being out there. But another thing that you can do, even if the page has already been published, I don't think I can do it on the home page, so let's go to this example we did in January. Let's say we wanted to work on this OTO and we don't want it to be out there. We don't want people to be able to find it. If you click on the three dots, edit settings, you can turn it to draft mode. And it says right here, on enabling draft mode, this page will not be published while publishing the whole website. So you got to do a couple things. You put it in draft mode, and I'm not positive on this. Okay, you'd have to test this. I'm not positive that just putting it, let's say save. I think you have to click publish to actually get rid of it. Let's just go check if it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. So you would have to change it to draft mode. Make sure you click the check mark. Then go to publish and publish the entire site. And I believe that's going to remove this page. Let's see. Yeah. Let's go to this page now. And refresh the page. Yeah. So that page isn't found anymore. So that's how you can remove the page from your live site and keep people from seeing. Masherie, catch you later. I'm with Wilma, Masherie, and Bill. Cornelia, I'm not sure what that means. Oh, highly recommend the Groove for Growth Academy. There you go. I appreciate that. Hey, let's do this. Let's stop sharing. And I'm going to share again because we're running at the end of the time here. And I do want you to know this is a crazy offer. I just came up with it this morning. But, you know, let's do crazy things. We're going to skip these principles. I want to go to the offer. I'm going to come back to these principles. You're going to be grateful for them. I promise you. I don't know how to do this other than just skip looking through my amazing automation. If you love my automation, put a love it in the chat. It would make me feel so good that I spent the time to do those automations. If you don't love it, don't put anything in the chat. Okay, so the Groove for Growth Academy, I just want to mention it real briefly. The Groove for Growth Academy has 9 courses, has over 250 private videos that I've created over the last 4 years. What's important about the videos is that they're 3 to 7 minutes long. They're very succinct. They're very on point for the specific thing you're trying to do. They also are up to date. They're not 2 years old. So they're not 2 hours long. They're not 2 years old. And, well, some of them might be, to be honest, because some things in Groove haven't changed that much. So you get access to all of those courses immediately. But maybe more importantly, or as important, you get access to a couple of other things. One of them being live Q&A twice a week. And those of you that are in the Academy, just put in the chat how you appreciate the Q&A, because I hear it from you all the time. But it's me live with you on a Zoom call, answering questions, solving problems, helping you master Groove and get over those hurdles. If you've used Groove very long at all, you know you're going to hit a roadblock. And you're going to say, how do I do this? And I've had many people inside of the Academy who've spent hours and hours and hours trying to fix a button, trying to fix spacing, trying to do the little things that we want to do, trying to connect a product, trying to build a form. And they'll come to the Q&A, or they'll take the course, or they'll go into the course, and within minutes be able to solve those problems. It's a critical time saver for using Groove. And you can get access 2 ways. Now I want to describe these for you because there's a great offer if you buy lifetime today. So let's say you're here today and you're like, I'm not ready to commit $400 or $500, whatever it is. I have to go look at what the pricing is. I think it's $497 right now, but it might be $597. But let's say you're not ready to commit to that. You can go to yourbestgroove.com/academy-trial. And by the way, don't type those capitals in. I think it might not work. Academy-trial, and you can get in for $7 for the first month. So it's like a zero risk offer. You go in, you purchase the first month for $7. You get to come in, you get full access to everything. You can come to the live Q&A, you get all of the courses for a full month. And after the month, it goes to $37 a month. I'm confident. The reason we offer the $7 offer is I'm very confident that you will find the value that's much higher than $37 a month. However, if you want to purchase the Academy today, if you are interested in an incredible deal, the internet doesn't see capitals exactly. I'm going to show you what you can get today, and literally only today. I'm only going to offer it to the first 5 and the first 10 who purchased today. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go to my browser. I'm going to go to the page, yourbestgroove.com/academy. All right, so here's the deal. Let's just go see what we got it priced at right now. It's shifted. Okay, it's $597 lifetime, or 2 payments of $397. Here's the deal I'm going to give to you today. For the first 10 who purchase, if you're a part of the first 10, you're going to get 1 hour of one-on-one time with me in addition to full access to the Academy. 1 hour of one-on-one time with me is $200. So you're getting essentially another $200 of value. And by the way, this is valued at $19.97, and you can see all of that if you go to the page. You can see everything you're getting and what the value is. However, first 10, if you're the first 5, I'm going to give you 2 hours, another hour of one-on-one time with me. And we'll use that hour however you want. If you want coaching on your business, I'll coach you on your business. If you want specifics on a specific site you're building, I'll coach you on that particular site. Not just coach you, I'll get online with you. I'll log into your account if you want me to, and I'll do the work. We record the call. You get it as your own personal training video, and then you get to keep that as a part of your call. First 5 get 2 hours. First 10 get 1 hour. Hopefully that makes sense. That's my offer for today. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I'd rather give you a lot more detail. So let's see here. Let's stop sharing. All right. Okay. Groove growth is absolute value. Thank you, guys. Are there some cases where you want the page published and accessible but don't want it in the search engines? There are some cases, Chris. There is a way to do that. I'm going to skip that for right now because I want to get into the spacing. But yes, there is a way to do that, to not have it indexed. It's in the settings under SEO, I believe. Groove is an absolute value. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you, Dr. Lisa. Love the Q&A. Ain't nothing like it, guys. Dr. Peter. My friend Peter. Wilma, absolutely fantastic. Thank you, guys. Eric, will a replay be available? I hope so. I hope I'm recording it correctly. I hope I'll have a replay. If I did all of this work and didn't record it, I'd be more disappointed than all of you. Okay, great teaching. The internet doesn't see capitals. Love you, Kevin. VK, thank you. Love you back. Can we still get 1 hour with you, Kevin? Mashri, no, this offer is for today, for the people that are purchasing today in the next just today through the end of the day. All right. Thank you, guys. That's my offer. I don't need to do it again at the end. Let's see. Will a replay be available? How to move pages to funnels area. Yeah, I covered that earlier, Angela. You click the 3 dots on the page. You use the move feature, and it will walk you through that. Maybe you got that answer already. Okay, guys, let's keep going here. Share. I got somebody just joining us now. Got the time wrong. All right, we are 10 minutes past. Good grief. Let's do spacing. Right here. Share, and I'm going to see if I can go backwards. Sorry, guys, I went too far. Okay, spacing is one of the key things that you will face when using Groove pages, and I believe If you will learn these key principles, you can save yourself a ton of headaches. Anybody who's been on the Q&A will tell you, oftentimes people will come and say, I can't get this thing where I want it to go. It's a huge, huge question. And we'll spend the time finding where the spacing went and putting it in the right place. So here's a couple of things that you need to know. On the spacing area, on the right-hand side on the style bar, we have padding. Padding will add space inside the element you have selected. I'm going to show you how this works. Padding's going to add space inside the constraints of the element that you are currently selected. So it could be a container, it could be a text element, it could be a button, it could be an image. You can put space inside of an image, which doesn't make sense, but I'm going to show you what that does. And it's important because if you're adding spacing and padding, you have a higher potential, this is my opinion, and hopefully it matters after 4 years of using Groove day in and day out. You have a higher potential for frustration if you're using padding. And I'm going to show you when you should use it and when you shouldn't use it. Padding quick tips. Use it minimally. By the way, I'm going to work at making this whole presentation downloadable as well. And anybody who came to the session, I will send you a link that you can download this. Select all of the areas you want to add space to. So one of the things that people don't realize is if you're adding padding, you can select the top and the bottom and add spacing at the same time. Don't use the slider. Be consistent every time you use padding on a block or a button. Okay, I'm going to show you how all that works. And by the way, I'm speeding through it because I want to get you this content in the next 5 minutes. Margin will add space outside of the element you have selected. So if you put spacing above an element, you'll push that element down the page. You're forcing spaces inside of or outside of the element. If you put it below, you're going to push the things below it down the page. And so it's outside. Real quickly, margin quick tips. Be consistent. This is one of the keys. Choose how you're going to do this, and then do it the same way every time, because I guarantee you're going to come back into that page at some point and you're going to want to change that spacing, and you don't want to spend your time searching around saying, where did I put the space? If you do the same thing every time, we push things down the page. You can do it however you want, but always do the same thing. Never use margin for blocks. There's an exception to that, but never use margin. Never put space outside of your block, because it is if you have colored blocks as an example, it's going to put white space between the blocks. You don't want to do that. And capital, exclamation point, never use spacing to center an element. Never use spacing to center an element. I'm going to show you how you do center an element. Okay, that's it. That's cool. We just did that. Let's go back here. Let's share screen again. Question regarding email. Yeah, Judith, I'm not going to cover email today. Add margins to elements. Simple rule, add padding to containers. I disagree with that, Joseph, and I think it's complex, and I'm going to show you what I would say. Why is spacing important when viewing on different desktops, tablets, and phone browsers? All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you, again, the window for... Here's the Chrome tab. We're still skyrocketing our growth. Groove pages inside of Groove funnels. Okay, so this is this site is a site I built as an example. I can mess with it and do whatever I want with it. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to show you how spacing works in the next 4 minutes, and I'm going to be done by 12:20 p.m. today, my time. Let's see. So let's go add an empty block. All right, so we have a block with an empty container. The first thing I'm going to do, so we can see how this works, is I'm going to put some spacing inside of the block at the top and the bottom. So you can see how I went to padding for inside of the block. And you'll notice before I do anything, we have white space, but the container is connected, it's touching the top and the bottom. So I'm going to put a little spacing in the padding. I'm going to put 100 actually so we can see it. All right, so now you can see that I added space in the padding inside of the block, which puts space on the top and the bottom inside the block. All right, so let's do something else. Let's change the background color so we can really see what's going on. So, all right, our background color, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go do a plus and put another empty block in here just so we can kind of clean up our screen a little bit. All right, there we go. So I just used spacing to clean up the screen. All right, so what we've got is I don't know why I'm getting all of these notifications all of a sudden. Let me go real briefly and see what's going on. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Am I not sharing my screen, guys? Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. All right. Is there something going on that I'm not aware of? Nope, not sharing. Please share. All right, that's why. Okay, cannot see the screen. Thank you. All right. What's going on? Stop sharing. Let's try it again. Share screen. Chrome tab. Right, let's just do this. Okay, give me a thumbs up. I saw all those notifications. Thank you, by the way, because that got my attention. I got a raised hand, a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, good. I'm sorry, guys. Well, I'm going to show you what I did. I already changed the color so we can see it. So you can see I have a block here that's an empty block. It's got green background with an empty container inside of it. And the way I created the space, go over here to the spacing, is I put 100 padding on the top and the bottom, which put the space below the container and above the container over there on the left-hand side. Now, let me just give you a real quick tip here. You can change this spacing using the slider, but when you want to make a consistent website, you typically, if you have spacing in your blocks, you want the same spacing for each one. And a much easier way than using the slider and crossing your fingers and hoping you can get that number. You see how the number's changing? You can literally just click on here and make it whatever you want. It's a much better way to do padding. But anyhow, that's how I added the space inside of the block. So that's one place where you do want to use padding, is inside of the block. Another thing that as a principle we do in our shop is we always add a little padding on the left and the right. And I'm going to show you in a minute why we do that. I'll leave it 0 for now. Okay, so let's go do something. Let's go to Elements and let's pull in an image into this empty container. And we're going to click on the image. And I know this is going to go fast, but I really am showing you spacing, not how to do images. Let's just grab this image and put it on the page. All right, so we've got a couple things going on here. You can see we have an image that's huge, but we also have an image that's not centered, right? And one of the principles that I said is never use spacing to center. This is I think the number one error that people make. And I'll show you why you don't use spacing. Let's say I went to spacing. I want to push it, so I put some spacing to the left of this element. I want to push it across the page till it's centered. All right, so first thing you'll realize, I'm guessing. I'm guessing at where the center is. So I'm eyeballing it. I don't know where the center is. The second thing you're going to see is when I push, let's say I put 300 in and I think, oh, that's centered, even though it doesn't look centered, right? Because we're not actually seeing the entire block, blah, blah, blah. What happened on mobile is I pushed it off the page. Because that same 300 spaces on mobile is not going to do what we wanted it to do on desktop, right? It doesn't matter where we put it. It's not going to work. So now I'm frustrated because I want my image to be centered, and now mobile optimization doesn't work, right? That's a common thing that I hear. False. Mobile optimization works. Here's what you want to do. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of that space. And if you want to center an element, the exception is text. If you want to center an element, you click on the element. Breadcrumbs are your friend down here. So right now I have the image selected. I want the image centered. Go to the container that's holding it. So if you go to the left, you'll go to the container that's holding it. Now we can go to the gear or the settings for, hold on. Why are we not seeing the style bar? Am I zoomed in? Oh, I'm zoomed in. My bad. Okay. Now, okay, let's go to the image. Let's go to the container. Let's go to layout. And I'm not going to go through what's the difference between vertical, horizontal, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you the simple step. If you want to center an element, click vertical and then secondary, second from the left. This right here will center an element on your page. Let's go take a look at it. You see it's centered. And when I go to mobile, it's centered there as well. Now you also notice that it doesn't have space. And for me, I kind of always like to have things have space, text especially. I don't like things right up against the edge of the screen. So what we do on a block, all right, so now I went to the block, is we will go put a little bit of space on the left and right. It can be as little as 10. You didn't see a change on desktop, but we do it here because we know that when they go to mobile, we're going to want a little space in there. So you're seeing padding versus, so in the block we have some padding. On the image, we have no spacing. And in order to center the image, we used layout. Probably the most important thing you can do is don't use spacing to center. And some of you are saying, well, if you change it on every screen, you can make it work. Yeah, but you just wasted time going screen by screen by screen to change the spacing to make it centered. Use the construct I just showed you. The layout on the container, vertical, secondary, second from the left. And if you are in the Groove for Growth Academy, I do go into detail for all of this, how all of this works. I'm just not going to do it today. That's the basic principle. Let's say that we have two images and a piece of text in here. So let's just go grab a header, put it in the middle there. Let's go make it large. All right. All right, so here's another principle. So let's say we want some space between image number 1, our heading, and image number 2. Here are all the ways you can do it, and then the one that I recommend. You can click on the text, you can go to spacing, and if you want to put some space at the top, you can put space in the padding, and you can see that you're creating space. We never do it that way. Again, it's about consistency, and this is where maybe what Joseph was saying makes more sense. I have my own personal opinion on consistency. What we do is we always push elements down the page. So at the top, we have an image. I'm going to click on it for spacing. I'm going to go to the margin, not inside the image. By the way, you can put space inside of an image element, which is going to make things very confusing because the element allows you to do it, but it's a terrible thing to do. You can see that the little line is showing up there. You don't want space inside the element. What you want is you want space outside of this to push the heading down the page. So you watch when I add space, it's going to push that down the page. So let's say we're going to put 20 in there. Now we want to push this image, the second image, away from the heading. So we're going to go to spacing. Same thing. Same thing every time. If I want spacing going down the page, I'm going to go to the bottom of the element above, and I'm going to push it down the page with spacing. The simple principles, but they will help you be much more effective in your page building. All right, I'm done. And I could do a lot more on spacing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a whole series of videos, and I believe they're going to be on YouTube, just on spacing, because I barely touched spacing. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of help on that. All right. Brilliant spacing. Thank you. That alone helped me a lot. Yep. Technical design choice made by Groove. Yep. Joseph, so here's the thing. Joseph Borberly, he's in my academy, and he's a web designer. 98% of Groove users are not web designers and don't care about the technical background. We just want it to work. That's why I try to give principles that will help you make it work regardless of what's happening in the back end. But that's Joseph, and he's a great guy, and thank you, Joseph, for your input. Worldwide view, you're still the man. Thanks, you bet. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I'll take 2 or 3 more questions if you want to hang on here. And a session on building a Groove page from scratch. Craig, absolutely, we got to do that. By the way, this is a real quick tip. Using the templates, I got to figure out how to say this. Using the templates seems like a great idea because it's all there to start with. But when you start using the templates, they have been built over time. Joseph, the web builder, says don't use templates, and I say that as well. And the reason is they were built by different people at different times in the development of Groove, and you're never quite sure what you're getting when you get the templates. However, they can be a way, if you're not changing a lot, they can be a way to quickly get a web page up. What we do instead is try to teach you what the structure is, how to identify how it was built. Like, is it 2 columns? Is it 3 columns? How many blocks are there? And what you can do, great point. Wilma, be careful now about templates. Wilma and I are working together on her project. We did some one-on-one calls, and by using the templates, there were some headaches that were created for her. And so what we do is try to teach you to rebuild. It's fine to use the templates as a design template, but what we would do is rebuild each block based on what we're seeing in the template. Because I think the templates give us a great design, but if you want to be able to edit the site and keep it up to date, you want to rebuild the blocks yourself. If I have a WordPress site, can I bring it into Groove? No. Susan, you have to rebuild the site in Groove, block by block. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It's been an hour and a half. This has been a blast. I have enjoyed it greatly. The session has been recorded. According to my device here, it's been recorded in 2 places. I'll probably break it up into little videos and so on, but I'll get the replay available and make it available to you guys. And thank you very much for coming and participating. And if you want to get into the Groove for Growth Academy, today's the day. If you buy lifetime, you're going to get 1 hour for the first 5. If you buy, and I don't have time to go look and see who has purchased or hasn't, but you can also get into the Academy. And Cornelia, try to get into the next Q&A. Absolutely. Show up, ask your question. We're live, and we're getting things done. Thanks, everybody. That's it for me. Thanks again for coming. I'll see you on the next web class. If this was good, all right, if this was good, I have a request. We'll see what happens. If you found this helpful, post in the main Facebook group. We'll see if they let it go. Post in the main Facebook group how helpful it was and what you learned. That would be a huge boost for me. And again, we'll just do it as an experiment and see if it can show up in the main Facebook group. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you the next time. Not a single sale.